Hello, and welcome to the presentation From Burnout to Joy in Living, helping you take charge of your well being. Burnout involves emotional and spiritual exhaustion, cynicism, and depersonalization, meaning that you lose meaning in your work, your life. You become very cynical about anything positive. And the third component is inefficacy, where you feel that you're not making a difference, you're ineffective. Burnout is often insidious, which means that it can sneak in. If you are say, caregiver of somebody with dementia, or if you are a parent of somebody who has, say, autism or intellectual disability, if you are working extremely hard in a very negative environment, then you can start developing initial symptoms of burnout very slowly. And if you don't recognize it, eventually you will develop all three problems. Lack of empathy is also common in burnout. Most of the people who are experiencing burnout themselves may not be aware that that's what's happening. And sometimes their family members, their patients, if you're a healthcare professional, may notice it first and mention it. It's important at this point to check into your character strengths and then work on strengthening those unique strengths that you have to start tackling burnout. It's important to realize that many of us feel guilty of prioritizing our own wellness for fear of appearing lazy or undisciplined. Uh, True strength lies in realizing that we need to prioritize our own wellness. If you are more interested in about measuring burnout, you can find this Copenhagen burnout inventory on the internet. Self compassion is critical, and a lot of people who burn out have low self compassion mindset. And you can measure your own capacity for self compassion using Neff's self compassion scale. There are several drivers to burnout. Obviously, the demands on your life are just too high. You don't have a lot of support and resources, either emotional support or financial resources. Another is that you've lost meaning in your work. Uh, if you're working in a situation where the organization has very different values and culture than your own values, then you will experience burnout very quickly. If you have very poor lack of control or flexibility in your current work at home, if you're a caregiver or in an organization, then you're highly likely to experience burnout. Again, if you are living in a community where there is very little social support for you, then it'll drive your burnout. And the last is that there is no integration between your work and life. Those two are separate lives, and either you enjoy life and don't enjoy work, or you enjoy work and don't enjoy your relationships at home. Again, the interventions will depend on where the primary drivers are: organization, situation, or your own internal mind states. From the work point of view, you can talk to your boss regarding duty hour requirements, make some changes in your process of work. If you're a caregiver, again, try and find some respite. Also, talk to the family members so that you can change the process of your daily caregiving workload. At a more individual level, it's important to develop skills of mindful living, meditation. Those are one of the biggest, most effective antidotes to burnout. Again, we all need to manage our stress better, and we need to find small groups of people who are experiencing burnout and then help each other. And this is a great individual level intervention. It's important for us to learn about neuroplasticity, neurobiology of stress, trauma, and resilience, and realize that our brains are plastic. We can make dramatic improvements in our brain functioning, in the functioning of our mind. It's important to read high quality publications on cognitive and emotional flexibility, self compassion. It's important to normalize burnout and not try and medicalize it. Uh, uh, Technology is important, especially in this COVID pandemic situation where in person visits are hard with family, friends. Uh, there are a lot of local and internet resources for group meditation. I would strongly urge you to consider that. Do mindfulness and meditation exercises regularly from free apps from reputable sources like UCLA Mindful, Cleveland Clinic Mindful Moments, PTSD Coach, CBTI Coach. Use backdoor strategies. I've found them very useful. I read poems that help me cope with burnout, depression, anxiety, stress. I use quotes. Uh, Art is very important, spending time with nature. Burnout is an expression of moral injury and moral distress. So, really, we are deeply affected at a spiritual level. So, we really need to take care of it, take it seriously. If you have a passion, or if you've had a passion in the past, playing a musical instrument, uh, having gardening, cooking, please go back and reactivate those passions. It's important to become your own teacher, start coaching yourself, and again, become more curious. Wonder what's going to happen if you embark on this new path. It's important to realize that some people who are experiencing burnout have also developed severe depression, and then you'll need some attention from a healthcare professional. People with depression have more persistent depressed mood and anhedonia, lack of pleasure in activities that were previously pleasurable. The depressed mood does not fluctuate much and not tied to any specific thoughts and preoccupations. They are always unhappy and miserable. They are very self critical, experience pessimistic ruminations. Recurrent feelings of self loathing and worthlessness are common, and one may even develop suicidal thoughts, wishing to end one's life. These are some of the resources I recommend. Feel free to check them out. I've found them extremely useful. And we need to, again, engage in educating ourselves and becoming our own teacher, mentor, coach. My wife and I have written this book, One Day Mindfulness Millionaire, Living Mindfully, a light-hearted primer for the uninitiated. If you haven't engaged in mindfulness practices, if you don't know what is meditation, I encourage you to try out this book. Thank you very much. Namaste.